Hey, this is Vince Papale. I'm a fellow Hawk brother, and of course I'm the guy from Invincible, and you're listening to Sports and Rants with Brett and Pants right here on 1851, my Hawk brothers, and the Hawk will never die.
And we are back now on live with former Philadelphia Eagles offensive lineman, two-time Pro Bowler, two-time All-American, and Eagles Hall of Famer, Jerry Sisemore. How are you doing today, Jerry?
Good, gentlemen, good. We're cooling off in Texas. I'm having to wear long pants, but life is good.
So you grew up in the Texas area. Does that make you a Cowboys fan growing up?
Oh, come on, man.
We had to bring it up.
No, I definitely Cowboy country. All my kinfolks, everybody were Cowboy fans, still are. It's crazy. But not me. Not me. I was always a Packer fan until I went to Philly. And then, but I've never really been a Dallas Cowboy fan. I don't know what's up with that crap.
So what made you a Packers fan growing up?
Well, I think Fuzzy Thurston, Kramer, Bart Starr, you know, the whole 9 yards. And I kind of like Ray Nitschke. So, you know, when you're a little kid, you need somebody to talk about. Everybody else is talking about Dallas. So, hey, how about Green Bay? So it worked perfectly. And it helped me get my attitude adjusted when I came to South Philly.
Have you been following football this season?
Yes, sir. It never goes away.
What do you think about how the Eagles are doing this year? Do you think they could be in the Super Bowl?
Well, you know, I've always been very conservative. And I just want them to win the next game. You know, that's the way we were always taught. Don't think ahead. Think about today. And then hopefully we'll work our way to tomorrow. So, but, yeah, it looks good so far. Everything's solid. Coach is doing a great job, isn't he? My goodness. Now,
being down there in Texas, do you get a lot of hate for being a former Eagle and loving the Eagles and watching them?
No, yeah. We've got of course, just about all my family live within 10 miles of here, so we have a nice little Eagles fan club, Lake Travis North Shore group, and then the theory's the same. Anybody that plays Dallas, we're for. So, but it's all good. We have it's a diverse pro crowd, pretty much all UT and Aggies, but I'm getting a good year out of it. It's beautiful. Beautiful.
So how did you come into playing football? I know you grew up in Texas. Was that just the stigma? Did everybody play football growing up?
Pretty much. Friday night football is definitely a different animal in Texas. And it's, you know, so that's kind of the way it works out with everybody. But I love music. I thought I was a musician growing up, and didn't even sign up for football in the 7th grade. And I was in the band hall, and the coach came and got me out of the band hall. So football was kind of one of those things. All right, I'll play, whatever.
Wow, that's actually a really interesting story. So you were just taken out of the band hall and like forced to play football, and look, you became...
Well, you know, a good word, forced. You know, because I don't know if you have another opportunity. The football team and the band people didn't even get along, so it's kind of crazy in the Panhandle of Texas. Texas football kind of wins everything. But it's all good. I had some wonderful coaches, and in fact, I've only had a couple of bad coaches, but that helped, you know, learn the game the right way for all the right reasons. It was just beautiful to be around. But the pressure was definitely on at an early age, no doubt about it.
What made your high school coach to ask you to play football? Was it because you were athletic, or did he...
Well, I was a big dude, and all the guys that I'd gone to elementary school with, you know, we always play in the yard, and I got 3 brothers, and we're always playing in the yard with all of their bigger friends. And, so like I say, every weekend the parks are full of pickup. All the streets have bloody noses and neighborhood fights over street ball. So it's just kind of you inherited. You got footballs as babies, and then pretty soon you were. So it was all we did in the country. That's football, football, football. So when I didn't play, the coach said, "What's the problem? Just come with me, and we'll work on your attitude later." So.
Now, was offensive line the position you wanted to play, or did a coach guide you in that direction?
Well, it just kind of started out that way. I started out at center because I was a big guy, and I can move pretty good. So I don't know why the coach said that I'm not going to be a fullback, and I can outrun just about everybody on the playground, except Lawrence McCutcheon. But I don't know. It didn't work out that way. Then a couple of times I got to play fullback and tight end, and then mostly defense. I was in high school. I was a defensive guy because I could move pretty good. So they put me at nose guard and let it go. And so until I got to college, I was all defense. And offense was my minor. And then when I got to college, it all went the other way, and then the rest is history.
Now, we see that actually a lot with offensive linemen. They were quarterbacks or tight ends, other positions. Does that athleticism, do you think, help you become a better offensive lineman?
Yeah, more specifically, Lane Johnson was a quarterback going into college, and he was so athletic, obviously now right tackle with the Eagles. And he was so athletic that they had to switch him over to tackle so he can be on the field. And Jason Peters was a tight end before he came with the Eagles.
Yes. It's amazing how, and that's the beautiful thing. How does Coach Chip and Vermeil and all those guys get their talent in and then evaluate, well, this guy's playing pretty good here, but so is this guy. We got 2 in one spot. Let's move him over here. And so you experiment with personnel, but the thing you have to do is find the right chemistry. And that's the trick shot. And that's where everybody gets an opinion on what is chemistry. How do we look for who's going to do what? So having players play different positions for the betterment of the team is the best way to do it, no doubt about it.
Can you explain to our listeners the importance of the offensive tackle position?
Well, it's most underrated, and right tackle is the most underpaid position in professional sports history. But y'all don't agree?
Oh, wow.
Definitely.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, okay.
No, if it wasn't for you guys, Jaws would have have his lights knocked out of him.
Thank you. Did you have his number? Can you get him on the show this morning? Well, I'd like to talk to him about a couple of things.
So would we.
He doesn't return my call, so don't worry about it. So where were we? What were we talking about?
The importance.
Dallas sucks. Dallas sucks pretty much, right?
Always
right.
do. Always will.
Yes. That's a beautiful thing. From Plainview, Texas to Austin, Texas, then from Austin, Texas to Broad Street. And, man, there's a huge part of my soul still on Broad Street. It's beautiful. And I tell everybody, I know you're what, but Philly's different than every place on the planet. And take care of their own.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to feel like I'm part of that. I like to think that, hey, those people, they were beautiful to me. They're their families, and I just hope they let me come eat Thanksgiving dinner or something.
So what made you go back to Texas after your playing careers with the Eagles?
Well, I have a little place down here where I'm standing right now in Lake Travis, and it's called Rock Marina. And if you Google that, you'll know where I am. But it's on Lake Travis out in the country. and the dogs run, the children play. Now we got grandbabies that come over and play. So it's a beautiful place. Not that I didn't love Philly. It was just I needed to come back here. This is the spot that God picked for me right here. So that's why I came back. Or else I'd still be in Philly, probably working for Jaworski, mowing grass on his golf courses or something, you know?
You talked about how there's always a place in Philadelphia for you, and like the fans will always love you, and you hope to have a place at the Thanksgiving table. Do you recall any special moments with fan interactions that stick out in your mind?
Oh, yeah, Al DeMarco, Bill Bradley, little history, played a couple years before I did, about 4 years to be exact, from the University of Texas, from a small town in Texas, amazing athlete. Anyway, he took me in as his roommate as my freshman year. I roomed with Bill Bradley. And the guy, we got a room, Ben Franklin Hotel. We got a parlor on the second floor. That's Billy B. Bradley. He was the mayor of South Philadelphia back then. And the guy that was the general manager at the Ben Franklin invited us over for an Italian Thanksgiving. And man alive, we ate all day long. All day long. It was the most beautiful thing. But, you know, there's places you can go in South Philly, and it's the grandchildren of the guys that you used to hang out with and drink beer and shoot shuffleboard with in the same neighborhood, but they're their grandkids, and they all know you. It's like, wow, we just all got older. Everything's still the same. We're just a little bit older. Probably not as good as we used to be, but, you know, I mean, you can't tell Bill Berge that.
Now, for you, what was the experience like playing in front of the Philadelphia fans? A lot of people, you have to have a tough skin, they say, to play in this city.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. It's no nonsense. The people there know exactly what they're looking at, and they have a huge investment in it, and they've inherited that. And that's why I say Philly's different than everywhere. And the people know who's playing and who's not staying. They know that. And if you give a good effort, you know, it's all good. All good. However, Monday night, my second year, that would be 1974 in the vet, playing Dallas on Monday night. It's a close game. We had more guys from Texas than they did. So it was like our guys versus your guys. Dallas sucks. We all knew that. And first quarter, you know, 7-7. Second quarter, I don't know, 10-7. Third quarter, early part of the third quarter, you know, it's like, hey, this is Dallas, and we're going to kick their butt today again. And I'll be dad burned. Larry Cole put his arm underneath mine and kind of pulled me down. But it was at an angle where it looked like I pulled him down. And so he erased a 97-yard Tom Sullivan screen pass touchdown.
Oh, wow.
And it was just like, out of the corner of my eye, I could see it. You know, it's kind of like, man, this is BS. And out of the corner of my eye, I saw the referee pull out his flag and throw it at us. And it was just like, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. Because, you know, you look around, there's no one here. Everyone's at the other end zone, all the way down there. Everyone is down there. The crowd is, they were yelling, but then when they saw the yellow flag, they're not happy. They're throwing stuff. They're cussing. They're fussing. And they're, it's like a bomb went off. And it was, I think a 16-ounce loaded beer can came out of the upper deck 700 level of the vet and exploded right next to me. You know, it's just like, hey, welcome to Philly. From the penthouse to the outhouse in one play, one flag. But that's just the way it is. And if you're from there, you know about it. then you love it.
Now,
you love it.
Do you have a defining moment where you felt like Philadelphia finally accepted you, or the fans accepted you? And how did you set yourself apart and make yourself a beloved Eagles favorite?
They're the ones that decide that, but I think it's mutual. When you can tell, especially on the football field, if someone is really enjoying being where they are, or proud of where they are by the way they play, and that's the way the Philadelphia fans go. And it was going from the outhouse to the penthouse in 5 years. Vermeil took us to the Super Bowl in 5 years. Same group of guys. We had 19 free agents. I mean, it was an amazing ride with the city of brotherly love. We all went together from the bottom to the top in a short period of time, and all the way up it was, boy, it's going to be great when we win it all. These people are going to be amazingly happy. Then when we beat Dallas and Philly, January 80, the place was amazing. It was just like, wow. All of the booze and beer cans out of the upper deck, and for one brief shining moment, there was Camelot. It was beautiful. It was beautiful.
Now we're talking about Philadelphia accepted you and the rest of the Eagles, the team the most when they were having the most success, 5 years after Dick Vermeil came to the Eagles. What was it like when Vermeil first came to the Eagles? Was there any culture change like we're seeing now or we saw with Kelly?
Well, yes and no. It was, we had a bunch of ragnarok, and it wasn't like Coach Kelly inherited a group of underachievers. I mean, Coach Andy had them rocking and rolling, man. They had some good, solid position. And so it was a little bit different back then. The guys were used to losing, and I only think they won 2 games the year before I got there. I mean, it's pretty bad attitude in the locker room. We talked about chemistry a while ago. It's the most amazing thing. But it was different. Vermeil took us from that attitude to winning one first down at a time. And we had some amazing goals that Vermeil would set for us, and he just about killed us. I mean, we worked out 2 days. It was 2.5 in the morning, 3.5 in the afternoon, full pad, 6 days a week, 1 on Sunday for 8 weeks. I mean, you can't live through that crap. No wonder all my stuff is worn out. But we went from the bottom to the top, and you have a special bond with coaches, players, equipment guys. We were all in it, and we all wanted to win really bad. And that's the beautiful thing about that time, was went from the bottom to almost the top with the same group of guys, just trying to get better every single day.
Now,
beautiful.
Vermeil's coaching style, as you're describing, is very intense. Why do you think that is the case? It almost sounds as if he's training you as if you were training for the military. You're a soldier.
Well, it's how it's a physical game. We all know that. And then you've got 11 guys that are in hand-to-hand combat. I mean, it's pretty serious stuff on a big level. It's not death, but it's a slow death. I mean, you go up there and you go through everything, all the blessings, and then you finally make it to the NFL, and then whatever, it's going to end before you know it. Next day, next year, whatever. Then you're going to have to have a pretty good plan together, or you're going to go through some crap. I mean, the adjustment out of the NFL is, you never quit paying for that. I mean, it's pretty amazing.
All the Eagles fans saw Vermeil from the public view, out on the field and in the media. But what was he like in the locker room, or as a person, one-on-one?
Oh, he was, during the time, he was amazing. He was like, this is not fun. this is not fun. And if you worked hard, it was you worked harder, and you were okay. If you found a way to work harder and, try to keep him, figure out, well, what makes this guy go like this? How intense can he be every single day? And so you kind of get into a rhythm, and like the team chemistry we're all loving about, if the majority of the guys don't buy into what the head coach is trying to teach and encourage and put over, then, it's all going to come off the tracks. And there was a group that bought into Vermeil, and then the group got bigger and bigger and bigger. It's the same way with Coach Kelly, Andy Reid, Darryl Royal. Those guys are the same every day. And, football's not for everybody. And, it's okay if you don't play. But if you play, let's play. Let's don't whine and fuss and draw attention to ourselves. It's a team game. Let's get this done.
Would you say... Go on.
No, I'm good. Go ahead.
Would you say that Vermeil embodies the Philadelphia attitude?
Oh, 100%. 100%. The only other guy that got close was Rocky, and I don't know what he's doing these days.
Did anybody clash with Vermeil's intense attitude, or any teammate that clashed a little bit?
No. There were only a couple, but the guys that, it was such a routine that you had no chance to get mad at the coach. I'm sure a couple of them did, but there was a lot of them that said, "Oh, I don't want any of this. I'm going home, coach. Don't want any of that." There were a couple of them that were there, and that were there with a predetermined bad attitude. They didn't last long. He didn't have to yell at it. Well, he yelled at everybody, but there was no, in your face type of deal. It was just, hey, football's not for you. See you. If you're going to stay in Philadelphia, work for Dick Vermeil, hang out in this locker room, you're going to have to work your butt off. We don't care who you are, where you came from. We're all the same. And that's the way it worked out.
Now, it's obvious that you worked your butt off, and it looks as if that Vermeil helped you to become the player that you are, that you were. Is there any particular reason why that's the case? Was it also because of the offensive line coach, Ken Iman?
Oh, well, definitely. But who's gonna want to talk about Kenny but you guys?
You can.
But that's the way it works out. And regardless of what anybody says, offensive linemen stabilize the situation. And what? Yes. I had to deal with my offensive coach, my wife. Oh, did I mention gentlemen only get married one time? It's the most important thing you'll ever do.
Why is that the case?
Well, why is that the case? You got to figure that out. I got to tell you. Come on, brother. But where were we? You quit yelling. I can pay attention again. Apologize. I'm back.
We were talking about Ken Iman and the influence they had on you and Coach Vermeil.
Oh, yeah.
To help you
Kenny
become the best.
Yeah. Kenny was great. Played in the league 15 years. And, it was just one of those guys that were beautiful. And you had to show him. You couldn't BS it. And Kenny was about 6'2" and about 190. He played 15 years at center in the National Football League. He was drafted and made Green Bay Packers team of 6 and 61. So, it's just like, really? And that guy's our coach, been there, done that. And he really helped Dick Vermeil, adjust to the next level. Because you can't, if you don't know anything about football, you don't try to kick there physically on the highest level. You don't try to wear everybody out. So Vermeil needed a little tempering that way.
Now, during that time in your Super Bowl run, the Eagles had one of the better offensive lines in the league, and you were on the same line as the likes of Stan Walters. What was that like to play with him? And you guys went to a Pro Bowl together as well.
Yeah. Well, when you got Ken Hyman helping stabilize everything, then having Stanley on the other side of we had a little square at the end of the locker room, back by the restrooms, and that's where offensive linemen hang out. We get at the corner so we can all look at each other. And if you go in the locker room, you'll find the darkest, farthest way from the door. That's where the offensive linemen hang out. So we all kind of act the same. And Stanley from Syracuse, beautiful, from East Rutherford, New Jersey, but a remarkable athlete and a brilliant guy, too. And he only got married one time, which is brilliant, two-star Stanley. But Stanley was one of those guys that gifted, great big gifted, and he could move like a cat. He and we would do one-on-one basketball in the off-season, just fiddle farting around, and Stanley would clean us all up. He was an amazing athlete. Still is, but he was one of those guys that just loved to be around him. And, it's like we were sitting on the edge of the bed in training camp. We were roommates. And two-a-days started in the morning. Dick Vermeil two-a-days, and this was like this was our fourth year with Vermeil. And it's like everybody knows what's fixing to happen. And Stash looks up to me and says, "Size, do you realize this very moment is the best we're going to feel for 9 months?" And looking across the huddle at Stan after about third day of two-a-days, and his eyes would be sunk way back in his head, and I could tell he'd be on automatic pilot. I mean, physically that was a challenge, gentlemen. I don't think anybody has or will do as much work as we did to try to get better. It's beautiful. Stan Walters was a big part of that. John Morris was a big part of that. And you look back on it, and it's just like, wow, that was a good time. Good time. That's why some of us don't grow up.
So, when you guys went to the Super Bowl and Jaws had so much success, did he get the offensive line anything? Did he thank you guys?
Well, back in the day, Earl Campbell was rookie and kicking butt, and so he went out and got his offensive linemen. They all got Rolex watches, and which was, wow, that's a pretty amazing deal. But Jaws got us some cowboy hats. It's kind of like, well, they're from Texas. We'll give them a cowboy hat. I think it was kind of like a joke. Because it was like, dude, you don't even know what kind of hat to buy, man. And you said, I'm going to wear this hat up here? No. It's like Sheriff Woody, It's just like, no, man.
Would you have rather had a Rolex?
Yeah. I'm thinking, yeah. Yeah.
So was that a common theme that, like, the whole line was from Texas area in the South?
We had three guys from the state of Texas. Guy Morris and he was the center, and guys from TCU, and a really good athlete. He could probably play fullback. And plus he's real smart, and back then, well, still, your center has to be able to run the five horses. He kind of drives makes the calls and makes sure the right's talking to the left, and he's talking to the quarterback kind of in the backfield. He's giving directions. So the center has to be able to handle it all and communicate on several levels instantly. Guy Morris was that guy. He was from Texas Christian, TCU, and then Wade Key, the left guard, was from, at that time, Southwest Texas State, and it's called Texas State now. So we had three of the five were from the state of Texas. So we knew what bad cowboy hats look like, okay?
Now, you talk about all these great relationships you built with the offensive line. Is there anyone you still talk to on the team that you still keep in touch with?
Yeah, a couple of them. Guys over in Commerce, he stayed in coaching. Never thought he would, but he did, and he's done a wonderful job, coached on every level. And now he's the athletic director of Texas A&M Commerce, which used to be East Texas State in Commerce, Texas. And I don't think he's the athletic director anymore. I think he's a special assistant to the athletic director. I guess that's the best job to have on the planet, really, besides the White House. Come on, let's go somewhere else. Yeah. Okay, we're back.
All right, so we were talking about the duo between you and Stan earlier. A few earlier during the Reed era, there was another tremendous duo of Runyon and Thomas, Trey Thomas and John Runyon. How do you think you compare to them?
I bet we're a lot of fun. Same chemistry, as far as how do you compare, what was then to now? I guess it depends on who's keeping score. But they're a good group, and definitely in their time, they had to be dealt with. That's a good thing about it. They did a good job. The good guys, what I know of them, first class human beings. Just you like to be around them. They were good, definitely good. I don't know if we were that good. I know Stanley was. I was just lucky.
Now,
but I'd rather be lucky than good,
Yeah.
Only married one time. One time.
So, can you take Philly fans into the experience of playing at Veterans Stadium? Everybody says that stadium ended players' careers. What was that like for you playing there?
Well, at the time, you don't have any. You're not worried about anything. You're worried about winning the Super Bowl. You're worried about beating Dallas. And that was our mantra. What are you doing today to get better than Dallas? So the field, any of that stuff, what everybody complains about, all the old stars, the Redskins and all those guys that would come to town, they would be whining, that's the worst place. We kind of like it. Maybe they'll come to town with a better attitude or something. But it was bad. It was like concrete. And we worked out so long that we almost had to work at the vet right outside the locker room, or you got to travel. And there's, this time of year up there, sun goes down. So hours on the field equated to the floor of the Veterans Stadium, which was pretty much like concrete. Of course, you guys are way too young, and your dads are too young, but the initial first generation of AstroTurf was put on pavement. They put a little pad down, and then they put the little cheap whatever carpet on there, and that stayed until 1970. Man, a long time. And I know it does good for the new knee business. I got 2 new ones, and I'm sure some of it had to do with the vet stadium. It was beautiful, though. It was our place, our backyard. Schmidt and them, they hit an infield hit that goes to the wall because it's like concrete. And the Redskins didn't like to play there. Those old guys, they didn't like it at all. But nobody liked to play there but us. But it's beautiful.
So you're talking about playing at the vet. Did you ever, because we know it was a 2-sport arena, did you ever have to interact with the Phillies or deal with them at all?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the way the vet was set up, that the Phillies and the Eagles shared the same shower, toilets and that stuff. Hair blow dryers, those things that Pete Rose and Mike Smith used. And then Jaworski started using it after he saw those guys. But, yeah, we'd be working out in the off-season, and they'd be playing their games. And, you know, we all kind of knew each other and hung out a little bit. You know, they'd go to our charity stuff. We'd go to theirs. And, but it's all good. Yeah, we did interact with them.
Now, we hear these intense rivalries now in the NFL, and back in the day of offensive linemen and defensive ends going at it. Was there anybody that you hated going up against, or you wanted to just knock out every time you played them?
Yeah, I didn't like any of them. But, you know, the amazing thing was that I was so blessed that I was 6'4" and 265. That was it. That's as fat as I could get. Whatever. And, you know, those guys, I think I outweighed one guy one time. One guy, I played him several times, Jack Youngblood. And he's in the Hall of Fame, so that really wasn't a Sunday off, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So there was, at any given time, I could be killed. You know, it's like I'm over with. And playing Ed Jones twice a year for, I don't know, it seemed like a couple of centuries. But he's all I thought about all year long. You know, you can't look bad. Plus, he's 6'9" and 36-inch waist. Bench press half the stadium is crazy. And in Tom Landry's defense, he had a 3-by-3 foot square. That's all he had to do was occupy that square. It's just like, you can't even sit in that square. You can't even sit in a 3-by-3 yard square. So it was always a sleepless night in South Jersey, sleepless nights. Many nights were thought. There were some amazingly good athletes that played on not too good of teams. So when that happens, the tremendously great athletes, you kind of get the edges of them. It's not like they've got surrounding cast and they can focus on their job. They're trying to take care of everybody else's business. But Ed Jones had a surrounding cast and quiet guy, nice guy, great guy, but boy, it caused me a lot of problems.
So you mentioned that you were small for an offensive lineman. What was that like playing in the NFL, like you said, against all these giants? And did Coach Vermeil say anything about that? Did he try to put you on a program to make you put on weight and get bigger?
Yeah, well, you know, it as long as we weren't fat. Back then, we were considered fat asses if we weighed, 275. You didn't want anybody over 275. And that's just the way football was on that level back in that time. And, of course, the weight program is, beginning to gain altitude and importance. But, heck, we had to have a job. We had to have an off-season job to pay the dang bills. It's crazy. And so, you worked out. But the most important thing is that you played. And you played broken and sore and all that. What do I got to do to play? I'll do it. But then things started to change. The athletes started getting bigger and more emphasis on off-season training. And they made more money, so they were able to do the things that, you hire a personal trainer, someone to yell at you. That's a pretty good thing, and you got all this stuff. But it's all good. It's all a revolving situation about a beautiful game. But that's kind of the way it was, I guess it was the way it was, not kind of all over.
Right now we're talking about you going against bigger opponents and off-season training.
Yeah.
And earlier we talked about Vermeil's rigorous practices. I'm sure it didn't help making it any easier going against guys like Bill Berge, Claude Humphrey, and Charlie Johnson. What was practice like going against good competition like them?
Well, there was mutual understanding. All of them great guys, even Berge. what color is his hair these days? That boy's changed hair colors so many times. But it made you better. And we didn't ever have full contact, but it was called thud, and it was always in full pad. So, it's pretty soon by the time that number one offense got on the field that number two defense was there. We tried to do that to keep the 1 and 1 off each other, but that was in the second hour of the practice at the end. That was the last 30 minutes of the 2.5, 3.5. Otherwise, you were just working on individual stuff. But that was Vermeil's philosophy at that time, that you make each other better. And if you work hard, you will not get hurt as much. So let's have a very fast tempo all the time. Movement. And we had a young team, so it worked out. But the way the athletes are training today, I mean, wow, it's pretty amazing how big everyone's gotten and how fast they are. The game has evolved, gentlemen.
It seems to me that Coach Vermeil was very vocal during practices. Were there
That's
any
a good observation.
Were there any players that were vocal during practices, or tried to keep everybody lively?
Oh, we were all, to a certain extent. Vermeil ran the show, assistant coaches ran the show, and there was not much else chatter on the field. You heard other coaches coaching their guys, but you need to be paying attention to what your coach was coaching you. And then on certain days there would be a little grab ass, but most of the time it was serious as a heart attack, and that's what you have to do. Vermeil would say you practice like you play. So we're going to practice on Monday like we're going to play on Sunday. And there, that has weight too. That's an amazing philosophy. When you're out there, you get your mind right, and then when you're doing something else, you go do that. But while you're on the practice field, you practice hard, and it's focused, concentrated. So, and that's another one of those chemistry things that you have to find people that are willing to sacrifice like that. If you're going to put him in a locker room full of other guys like that, or he's not going to survive. It's just, you don't want to be the best, and this is kind of the standard that Vermeil set, and everybody in here that's dirty and laundry is bought into that program. You're not going to come in here and change it. No one was vocal enough to make that happen. So it was real. It was straight across.
Now, you've been talking about Coach Vermeil and the team. Could you take us through the whole 1980 Super Bowl experience for you, and what it was like, and how Philadelphia was, and how supportive the city was around you?
Oh, it was beautiful. Well, you know that when you're in the supermarket and don't go except on the off day, like Tuesday about 11 o'clock, no crowd or anything. And the little old ladies would come by and almost run over you with their little shopping carts. And you suck. You are bums, and it's like, well, how does she know that we're, I'm with the Eagles? And then how can she get this way? Well, it's pretty amazing. And, bless her heart, she probably lost half her check on the bet, and everybody in Philly's that's what I say, it's beautiful. You don't get that kind of stuff down here. You don't get that kind of stuff anywhere. People pay attention. They love their birds, but I'm not telling you guys anything. Y'all know all about that. Are y'all in y'all are at Temple, right?
St. Joe's.
All right. Are y'all, how's it going up there with y'all? Are y'all able to sell spots? I mean, we're growing in ratings. How are we doing there?
We're doing well. We got a couple advertisers, so it's looking good.
Excellent. Well, somebody's got to make money, or we don't have fun at it.
Yeah, that's true. So as we're wrapping up the interview here, we have to bring this up with you. It seems the rivalry with the Cowboys isn't as intense as it was back in the day. Can you just take us into, did you guys actually hate the Cowboys every time you went out on the field?
Oh, most definitely. Absolutely. It was a common bond. And I don't know, today's, we fought very, very, very hard, sacrificed a lot to even get considered free agency. And back before it was not even an option, in fact, you got released, you're no longer in the NFL, if you even made any kind of wave about free agency. And now today, there is free agency, and it's not, got drafted in Philly and I'll die in Philly. I'm not leaving Philadelphia, whether I wanted to or not. I guess I could quit type of thing. But free agency has changed that. And the way that you're here today and, you're moving on after whatever your option year's over with, then it's not the same as, I got my football cards and this guy's been here 10 years, this guy's been here 8 years. It's the same group year after year. So I would think it's harder for the fans to get as involved as the fans were in the compassion that the fans had back in the day. I know the NFL's done a wonderful job of marketing, and I guess it depends on who's keeping score. I think it was a little more intense back in the day everywhere. It meant a lot more for a longer period of time. Maybe not a lot more, because it's pretty intense. That was beautiful. Singing Fly Eagles Fly with the boys this year, opening day at the Link. That was pretty impressive. That was a good day.
All right, Jerry, final question for you. For you, what did it feel like to be inducted into the Eagles Hall of Fame? And can you just take us through that moment?
Well, it was one of those blessings that I got to go in with Stan Wallers. And they had changed owners, and things had gone in a different direction there, which is fine. It was all good. But then Harry Gamble, the late, beautiful Harry Gamble, loved the guy. Very, very compassionate, knew the big picture and the little picture. He viewed everything from 10,000 feet, but he had the heart of gold. He could get down. And anyway, Harry was general manager, and he decided to put Stash and I in the ring together, and that was a beautiful, beautiful thing to be in the middle of the vet and standing out there with Stan Wallers again. It's kind of, Stash, did you think we'd ever be standing in the middle of this field under these conditions after 10 years of total kung fu? But yeah, it's just beautiful. There's everybody has a bad taste for Philly, except the guys that truly wanted to be there and played there.
Well, Jerry, we thank you for joining us today. We appreciate hearing your stories and looking back on your career with you.
All right, gentlemen. Well, thank you so much. Honored to be with you today.
Thank you.
Married one time.
Married one time. We'll send that out to all our listeners.
There we go.
All right. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
This concludes our podcast of Sports and Rants with Brent and Pants. Thank you for listening. Please follow us on Twitter @Sports and Rants. Like us on Facebook. Remember to subscribe to us on iTunes. And visit our website, www.sportsandrantz.blogspot.com. It would help our rankings on iTunes if you rate and review our podcast. Thanks, and have a good day.